Solo voy con mi pena, sola va mi condena. Correré mi destino para burlar la ley, perdido en el corazón de la grande Babilón. Me dicen el clandestino por no llevar papel. Pa' una ciudad del norte yo me fui a trabajar. Mi vida la dejé entre Ceuta y Gibraltar. Soy una raya en el mar, fantasma en la ciudad. Mi vida va prohibida, dice la autoridad. Solo voy con mi pena, sola va mi condena. Correré mi destino por no llevar papel, perdido en el corazón de la grande Babilón. Me dicen el clandestino, yo soy el quiebra ley. Mano negra clandestina, peruano clandestino, africano clandestino, marihuana ilegal.
So my name is Ariana. I go to SOTA, School of the Arts. I am 16 years old and I am from El Salvador.
My name's Saeed. I'm 15 and I'm Mexican Nicaraguense.
Hi, my name is Axel. I'm 16 years old. I was born and raised in SF, San Francisco.
My name is Kennedy Guzman. I'm 18 years old. I'm a freshman at SF State. I'm from San Francisco, and yeah.
Our first exchange was at Casa Tochan. Casa Tochan is a shelter for Central Americans who are migrating to escape violence and poverty. The director and volunteer staff described the services they provided. We met and talked with a number of young men who are staying at the shelter. CARECEN had raised funds to help them construct a roof to expand any activity space. We also brought backpacks and CARECEN t-shirts.
También tenemos playeras que son de esas playeras que tengo yo para los trabajadores y huéspedes y voluntarios que se encuentran hoy. Y tenemos esos folletos, conozca sus derechos que pueden tener ustedes. Y,
So one thing I'm gonna bring back to share with with the people over there, like my family and friends, is the memories that that I've been, I gladly experienced. And, I can't wait to tell my mom how it was to finally experience what she went through her whole life, and like the things she's seen and the places she's been to, because she lived in this city, and she's really happy that I got to go on this trip, because it makes her really happy that I was able to experience like just a little bit of what she was able to experience, and it's really awesome.
One thing that I learned was comunidad. That's basically when if somebody's doing bad, he or she has nothing to eat, I'll help them out. But when I'm for nothing, for free, well, it's like I got their back and then they have to have my back. When I have nothing to eat, hopefully they pay me back like that, And I'm hoping to take that back to the city, California, and kind of show the people that are around me and change the way they think,
One thing I'm going to learn that I'm going to bring back is going back to the Casa Tochan and, the migrant stories, because I feel like there's something important to remember. Because, a lot of people, especially young people, their stories are forgotten and their struggles are forgotten, and it's something to really remember, so we can understand where other people come from and, base our judgment off of their stories. Another thing I'm going to bring back is going back to the cooperatives, what they stand for, what they believe, and maybe taking their ideas and, mixing them with our ideas on how we can approach certain situations within the community, whether it be like social equity issues or, stuff.
I learned that the world is a lot bigger than I thought it was, and I learned that I didn't know anything. So, you know, something that I learned was hard work. You know, it made me like want to help out too. Like coming here, like made me like I always wanted like to help, you know, and coming here and having connections and talking to people and knowing, you know, what goes on and seeing people that there's people already, you know, fighting, fighting for a better life and stuff. You know, I can help too now.
Was not to take things for granted, because something that really impacted me was we were driving to La Casa Tochan and we saw like kids putting like, I think it was gas or some type of like substance on their thumb. But basically what they did was they put it on their nose, and basically it gets them high and it makes them not hungry. And so that really was like, damn, like I can't take advantage of things, because it's like people out here struggling to make food or just even have food or have something that they can eat, and we're over here like, you know, taking advantage of it. And it's just like makes me realize, you know, not to take things for granted and just life itself, because kids can die like that. And we just saw a lot of like poverty, and you know, that just helped me realize, you know, to be grateful for what I have, because some other kids would want what I don't want. So just be grateful for what you have, and you know, just being here in general, because this was a big blessing to me. It was a big I would say eye-opener for me, and experience just to be in a different environment and culture.
Or having family on this side and on that side, or being part of the mixed status family as well. And it's a place where we have...
The main group we exchanged with was Otros Dreamers and Acción, or ODA. ODA is a grassroots organization that supports and advocates for young people who grew up in the US and are now in Mexico due to deportation or return. The founders, staff, and volunteers are mostly returnees who have been separated from their families and life history in the US, and who have found next to no support in Mexico to rebuild their lives. We built an altar with ODA and participated in an open mic for Dia de los Muertos. On another day, ODA took us on a tour of cooperatives that included the Otomi, indigenous people, the Matlachiwa, Cafe, and Fuck La Migra printing.
The hardest part was like sharing things about myself, because I usually don't do that. And then when we went to, I forgot the name of the place, with that one guy, and then he asked us like what we like, what we don't like, or like, you know, or whenever we meet like new people, we usually do a circle and like say our name and one thing about us. Like I don't usually do that kind of stuff, so that was hard for me.
Knowing about the struggles out here and seeing it within, you know, whether it be their face or their body posture, or how they carry themselves, right? And also hearing the stories at, what was it, Casa Pocho? Where, you know, we read that book and, you know, their stories that while migrating or being deported. And it was hard for me personally trying to understand their oppression while also comparing my oppression, where it really shouldn't be a competition on shared oppression, like, oh, I went through way worse than this person, because over here it's totally different. It's a totally different environment. It's a totally different struggle, whereas over there, you know, we do have a privilege, even though we might go through some things, but like I said before, it's a totally different environment, totally different, way that things are ran over here. So I feel like that was one hard thing for me, but fortunately in the end I ended up, I stopped doing that, and I ended up, accepting that they were, more oppressed and that they needed more attention, whereas over there we feel that we need all the attention when really it's not like that.
When I went to Faro, I feel like it was the hardest, but it also was a learning experience. But I feel like it was hard for me because we were showing a picture of like somebody who passed away or who's still here on earth, and I showed a picture of me and my auntie who like really meant a lot to me and recently passed away. So I feel like that was really hard for me because when someone really close to you passes away and it's really hard for someone to explain how they feel, and it's emotional for them because it's like you get all these memories on how this person impacted you in your life. And I feel like when I was sharing my photo, it was really hard for me because of just all the memories that came back to me, and knowing that this person is not there is like really hard for me. But I always say, they're gone physically but not mentally, so that's kind of something that was really hard. Actually, not kind of, it was really hard for me. So yeah.
Salías de un templo un día, llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi.
Dia de los Muertos in the Centro Histórico was a non-stop festival. Every night, rivers of people in costumes would fill the streets. We received una limpia next to the ruins of the Templo Mayor. The Zócalo, or the country's central plaza, had a giant installation that featured altars and photos from all parts of Mexico.
The favorite part of this trip had to be connecting with my folks and connecting with the staff, the participants, and then reflecting on how the people of this country and all the neighbor countries are very similar to how my family got to the States.
My favorite part of the trip was hearing the stories of the migrants at Casa Tochan, and also learning about what the other cooperatives do out here in Mexico City and what they stand for. And I liked hearing their ideas on how they could change the system, especially the system of capitalism, since it is an oppressive system.
And another favorite part is how I seen how everybody's out here making nothing out of something, basically, and I feel like I could really relate because I have a brand that I upcycle clothing, and I see people upcycling pieces of garbage, basically, and creating beautiful pieces of art.
Just looking, just seeing what it what people will migrate and stuff, what they really have to go through and the conditions that they really live in. And just I thought it was a lot, sadder and tougher than I thought it was gonna be, I know I couldn't survive, I'm I don't have to go through that. And then there's kids younger than me, 15, 13, 14, having to do that, coming to a new country when, without nothing, they have to find their own way. And I'm glad there's Casa Tochan, even though like it is still a struggle there, like struggle for them, you know, still a struggle for them, even though they're getting help, you know, they still have to like go through stuff and like they still have to like figure their way out, you know.
It was when I met my family, cause with them, I felt like this sort of connection that I've never really felt with like family members that I have back home, because with them, they really accepted me and they showed me, you know, tons of love, and just the energy and the places I went with them was just, you know, out of this world. It made me feel so involved and loved.
My favorite outing? The pyramids.
The pyramids?
Yeah.
Can you explain why?
Like, a lot of like, it was hot, but it was fun going up, taking pictures, going back down the pyramids. Everybody's tired, everybody's hot, drinking water and stuff. I just thought it was really fun.
On the last day of our trip, we visited the Teotihuacan pyramids outside of the city. Our tour was led by one of the compañeras from Ora. We climbed like ants up to the top of the Pyramid of the Sun and then walked along the Avenida de los Muertos to the Pyramid of the Moon. We held the closing circle of our trip surrounded by the pyramids.
Day 5 in Mexico. I think I'm in love with Mexico City. Okay, that's enough. That's enough, bro. You better cut this part out. I'm gonna get cringy.